Finding the right real estate property for your home or business can be confusing and offer a lot of questions. Should I buy? Is it time to sell? How do I get the right price? Can I find a bargain? Condo or house? We're here to answer the tricky questions you have, like, are investment properties a good idea? Is this the right location for my business? Can I afford it? Can I get a mortgage for that? And what's best for us? We'll help answer your questions and more right here on Real Estate on the Radio, presented by Keller Williams.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate on the Radio, 610 WGIR. Hopefully everybody had a good week. We survived St. Patrick's Day. And little trivia question. Did you know what the day after St. Patrick's Day is?
Recovery Day?
It's St. Joseph's Day.
Oh, wow.
So the Irish get St. Patrick's Day and the Italians get St. Joseph's Day. Pretty good two-day festival, I would say. Today we are going to spend most of our time talking about home selling and strategies to have a successful outcome when you sell your home. I'm Bill Weidecker. I'm from Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan in Bedford, New Hampshire. With us today is Christy Witten, also from Keller Williams. Hi, Christy.
Hi.
Beth Decato-Bolio, a frequent guest on the program. Welcome.
Thank you.
And lastly, but certainly not least, Fred Afshar, Realtor Extraordinaire, Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan in Bedford. Fred, good to be
Hello,
here.
everybody. Thank you.
So we're going to talk a little bit about home selling, and to get this sort of started, I guess I'm going to throw out a question or two and see what your opinions are. First of all, if I'm going to sell my home and I'm going to do it this year, what would your advice be? What should my strategy be at the outset? Take me away.
Get it on the market.
Because?
There's no inventory out there right now. And or very low. I shouldn't say no inventory, but we're definitely buyer heavy and listing light right now. So they would, from a selling perspective, a seller would have an advantage in listing now as opposed to waiting a couple of months for the weather to warm up and the snow to melt and all of that sort of thing. So if they're ready, it's definitely the time. So
buyers are out there looking around and the snow has not bothered them so much.
Totally, yep.
Fred, what do you think?
Sounds good. I also believe you got to do soul searching, find out your true motivation. Why are you selling? Why are you moving? And plan a strategy or strategery if you want.
Strategery.
Yes.
It's a good word. Beth, what's your feeling about strategy, priority, that sort of thing?
Well, I recently, in the last couple of weeks, have had a lot of sellers coming to the forefront who are preparing their homes. And what I've been doing is going and visiting, giving them sort of a list of the things that buyers are looking for in this market. And we go through that list, and sometimes it's fresh paint, new carpet. Sometimes, they're ready to go and it's a light staging that they need. So right now we're getting sellers calling us and looking to sort of get that priority, for the next couple of weeks, get their houses ready. And so that's the strategy that I've been working with. Just let's get it on for the first of the month.
Should sellers be scared? I mean, if they aren't able to get their home on the market in the next 30 days, let's say, should they be frightened that they might be losing an opportunity, or do you feel like this market's going to continue?
I personally feel like the market is showing that it very easily could start shifting into more of a seller's advantage. And it's what Christy said. The advantage right now is that the inventory is low, and there are buyers who really want to take advantage of the low mortgage rates. And these sellers that get their houses on in the next few months are definitely going to see that if they price it right and they listen to the realtor and they work as a team, they're going to find that these houses are going to go.
And so, Fred, let me ask you, shift gears a little and just ask you a question. If you're working with a seller client who is also going to turn into a buyer client, they're going to do two things at once. Do you shift strategy there with them, or do they feel a little nervous about this lack of inventory on one end? In other words, they're going to sell their house, but they may not be able to find what they're looking for. And what do you coach them? What do you say when you counsel them and coach them?
At this slice of the time, which is we are ending March almost and starting April, that's historically is the biggest month of listing month is April. So there's going to be more inventory coming in, I guess. Beth says already hearing and seeing them. And it's going to be more buyers also. So it really is, I always say real estate is not truly seasonal. Because you have more inventory, you have more buyers. You have less inventory, you have more serious buyers and less of them. And they shouldn't be nervous, really. Like Beth mentioned, we have low interest rates. Prices are still low. So it is the best time for both. It's like seller's advantage and buyer's advantage because you got rates low and prices low. And right now, inventory low. But inventory is going to improve, hasn't it already, Christy, Beth? It's already.
I'm seeing it a little bit, but not as much as I feel like
yet.
It normally has at this time of the year.
Because it's cold.
Well, cold. And I also think that you can almost go town by town, and some towns might be in a little bit of a better spot with inventory than others.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess the other question I have is: are your sellers involved in discussions with you about interest rates? And is there a concern there that if interest rates move a little bit, does that potentially stifle appreciation? Does it, buyers can only afford to pay so much a month. If their interest rates go up, their payments are going to go up. Is that going to cool things down, or are you involved in those discussions yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely discuss it. If interest rates go up, the pool of buyers in the price point that house might be listed at could become smaller. So, and on the flip side, if it's, a lower price point, the pool could become bigger. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's, but it is something that should be talked about.
They do talk about, Bill. And my resources told me, number one, in June, the rates may go up. And number two is that we say it's going up, but from what? So it has been so low that people think 5% would be like terrible, or 6% or 7%. Yes, it is if you can get 2% and 3%, but it's not terrible if you used to pay 19%.
Sure.
So I believe that activities you mentioned is not just about interest rate, it's more about jobs. If you have good jobs, not just one type, not entry level. If you have all sorts of jobs coming in over $200,000 per month, month after month, people are going to buy. And if rates are higher, they're going to buy less, but they're still going to buy.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's shift again and talk about timing. And most sellers, somewhere along the line, want to get a sense for how long is this going to take. Once they determine that they want to put their house on the market or their property on the market, some of them need to sell quickly. Some of them may not be in a rush. Some of them just want to get it over with. And do those discussions change based on what people are looking to accomplish? I'm curious how your dialogue might change with those different types of sellers. Some may have a job waiting for them in another part of the country. They've got to be there in 60 days, and they'd like to move the family in 90. How do your discussions vary depending on motivation?
Well, I had a situation last week in Goffstown where my client's husband got relocated for his job, and he left this weekend to go and begin that job, and she was going to stay behind and with the children, and that we put their house on the market. We had been in discussion since January about putting the house on the market. We wanted to wait until he got the job. He received the job and was going to be starting right away. And she said to me, I want this house on the market last week, and I believe everything that you have come to the table with as far as pricing. And, I want to be with my husband, and I'm very motivated to get this done. We were on for 24 hours, and she had a full price offer, and she's been listening to friends and family say, oh, it's going to take you forever. And, it's not, you just have to be patient. And, we put it on the market. We had multiple offers, and she is thrilled to death, and she's making the dream come true. And there was a lot of conglomeration there. There was a lot of moving parts at one point, and now it's like pieces are kind of coming together. And we worked as a team, and we came up with the strategy, and she priced it really well, and it was in that, under $250 in New Hampshire, and she's making her dreams come true.
It's interesting because fear of public speaking is like the number one fear in the world. The number two fear is fear of death. The number three fear is moving. And so, we are involved in, dozens to 2 dozens to 3 dozens of transactions as professionals every single year. And our clients are involved in 1 or 2, right? Every 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, depending on how long they stay in their house. So, that fear of moving and that lack of control can be disconcerting. So if you can change the marketing time from 60 days, 90 days to something shorter than that, that would seem to me to be one less thing to worry about. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to give it away either. Would you agree with that? If you price it right, you're not giving the house away. You're just at the market.
Yeah, I think it's very important to price the house properly, and I do think that it's important in any of the situations that you had mentioned earlier, whether they need to sell quickly, whether they're not in a rush, or whatever the situation is, the price point is still a very important piece of the puzzle. It's, in my opinion, the most important piece of the puzzle. So, I think that the pricing strategy needs to be focused on similarly in all of those situations, and you just make accommodations depending on the situation.
So I guess it's important that you have every client is going to be a little different, and you just talk to them about what their needs and desires and concerns are and try to address them early on. We're going to take a quick break here. This is Real Estate on the Radio, 610 WGIR. We'll be right back with our second segment, continuing to talk about what the market is like now for sellers.
I'm Christy Whitten of Keller Williams in Bedford. I love helping people find the perfect home, like Cindy Ripsick.
Christy is a homebuyer's dream agent, extremely knowledgeable, invested in meeting your needs, timely in her response, dedicated to helping you make a sound investment, and she's fun to be around. Knowing she was my advocate in an anxious time made it much easier.
So, if I can help you with your next move, please give me, Christy Whitten, a call at 603-674-4985 or look me up at christywhitten.com.
Bill Weidecker of Keller Williams in Bedford.
The real estate business technologically certainly has changed as the internet has become a very helpful tool. But the human role hasn't changed at all in my 29 years of helping people find the best home for them, and it can't be replaced. What I do is interpret all the information, give perspective, and solid opinions as to what you ought to do, and the internet can't do that. So if you're looking to buy or sell, give me, Bill Weidecker, a call at 661-7818 or look me up on the web at kw.com.
You've worked hard, paid your bills, but now you may need legal help. Have you considered bankruptcy? Bankruptcy may sound like a dirty word, but don't be ashamed to learn about this option. You're not the first. Many people, even big corporations, file bankruptcy, which can provide you with a fresh start and relieve you of stress and anxiety that has taken over your life. Contact me, Attorney Andy Gould, at 603-434-3437. The law offices of Gould & Gould is a debt relief agency, so please call us to learn what we can do for you.
Hi, I'm Fred Afshar from Keller Williams in Bedford. I think the most efficient and effective way to serve my clients is through a well-tested process that produces excellence time after time. It involves constant communication through the entire process to answer any question they have through the method they prefer most: phone, email, instant messaging, or text. That keeps them updated and all of us on the same page to make the process go smoothly. If that's for you, give me a call at 548-8989 or look me up at hscalls.com.
Brian Macris for Residential Mortgage Services of Bedford.
As soon as the phone rings and I pick it up, the first thing the customer always asks is, what's your rate? What's your rate? What's your rate? And at Residential Mortgage Services, we try to focus on what's the lowest cost to borrow. There are many programs out there that could include grant programs, no monthly mortgage insurance, VA programs, and our goal is to find the best solution for you and your family.
Brian Macris is MLO number 107176, and Residential Mortgage Services, Inc. is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 1716 is licensed by the New Hampshire Banking Department.
Hi, I'm Kim Denault of Keller Williams Real Estate. My main goal is complete satisfaction for my clients, because if they're happy, we'll probably work together again, and that's good for my business. Here's what Chris Beer said about our latest collaboration.
Going through a second transaction with Kim was like a breath of fresh air. We didn't know so much had changed in so little time. Thank you for keeping us up to date and making the transaction the smoothest we've ever encountered.
To learn more, call me at 345-7783. Look me up at nhseller.com or check out my ad in this week's Hippo Press.
Hey, and we're back with Real Estate on the Radio, 610 WGIR. I'm Bill Weidecker from Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan, being joined today by Christy Whitten, Beth Decato-Bolio, and Fred Afshar. And a fascinating first segment of discussion about what the market's like. And I'd like to continue that a little bit, because we talked about inventory being on the low side in lots of southern New Hampshire. And it's interesting because, Mark Twain said once, years ago, that history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme. And I can't help but think back of the market in the late 1990s into the early 2000s, and we all know that we just saw that huge ramp up after September of 2001. The market was a little skittish for about 6 months, and then it just took off. And we saw in the late 90s and the early 2000s multiple offers, lack of inventory. And, inventory always seems to sort itself out. But I'm curious, are there any towns that you've encountered, some better than others, some worse than others? What are you seeing out there specifically?
Yeah, I've got a property that I'm doing a market analysis on for a listing appointment for this evening, and it's in Fremont. And there's 25 homes, single-family homes on the market in Fremont right now. That, to me, is a little bit low. And since December 1, 11 properties have transferred. That's actually pretty high for Fremont in those winter months. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of a hot town right now, is what that's showing me. I don't know. Are you seeing the same thing, Beth?
Well, I did my market analysis for a property in Warner, and I was shocked at the amount of activity that occurred over the winter. And I had the same discovery as you with the amount of homes that were on the market. I think we were looking at like 52 in Warner. This is just a few weeks ago. And so, yeah, I have experienced that wholeheartedly.
So what do you do when you have, Fred, let me ask you this question. If you get a town that's got 25 properties on the market in total, I mean, that's from 0 to whatever the top end price range, and that's going to change from town to town to town. But if yours is likely to say, let's say between 250 and 350, it might go from 25 properties down to 6. So now you really, if somebody's buying in that town, they really only have to be better than the other 6 that they're competing with. Will you agree with that concept?
Yes, it's true. And also you got to look at the whole town, see what is real estate activity as a whole. That's one thing to look at. And if you see a town, which I had experience, is only 12 homes sold in the last 8 months, it's just not a high activity town. So you got to be sensitive to that, especially in pricing. And no matter where you are, though, pricing is important. Beth mentioned it. Christy mentioned it. There's no reason to overprice a house and say, well, we have all the time. And that only going to hurt you at the end. Real estate is such a different commodity than other things that you go and shop and compare. It's just different.
So here's another thought, and I know we're talking primarily about sellers today, but we know that some sellers become buyers. And if they're buying in this same market in southern New Hampshire, and they're basically moving somewhere less than 20 miles, they might move from one town to another town where the market's really good in the town they're selling and really white hot in the town they're moving into. What do you say to those sellers to say you're likely to get full price for your house or close to full price in this town, but you're likely to have to pay more than list price in the town you want to move to. Is that a discussion that you ever have to kind of counsel them into and say, you know, you're going to have to, if it's a really specific property you're looking for and it's in a really hot price range, you're going to need to take some strategy and be willing to pay a little more?
Yes. I will have that discussion with them and ask them, see again, what is their motivation, what's important to them. If that's the case, and if they have the budget to do so, which some do, let's go and buy first because that market is hot and is on the rise. So let's go buy your house, and then let's come and sell this one. If that's feasible for you, some people can do that and will do that. That reduces that fear of moving. To move twice or move, it's this settles it down. Or they say, okay, if you don't feel comfortable with that and you're not in a position, sell and then buy and see what happens to the market.
What do you ladies think?
Well, I had a buyer who was looking specifically in Derry. And when he first came and approached the buying process, he had been told by a lot of people that, you know, you never pay full price. And so he took that strategy and I would run some comparables for him and say that the house looks like it's in a range of, you know, $240 to $260. And of course we would put in an offer at $220. And time after time, and it took maybe 3 or 4 times, he wasn't getting the home because the sellers were holding. They were saying, no, I'm going to hold for my number at this market. And eventually, I think he had a self-discovery because he wasn't getting any of these homes and we were showing him more and more properties. And then eventually he was like, okay, now I've figured this out a little bit. I have to come up to more of the asking price in order for this to all work out. And once that happened and it was, you know, it all kind of clicked, it was through self-discovery that he really realized that, you know, if a house is on the market for $240, the days of putting the offer in at $200 or $210 probably aren't likely. It's more of a shot in the dark. And eventually I think the buyers sort of discover that themselves through just the exercise.
Yeah. Some buyers are different. You know, I'm one of these people that when I decide to buy something, I'm very much impulsive. And I will execute quickly on something once I make the determination I want to do it. And so the difference of $5,000 to me as that kind of buyer might not matter so much. And here's the takeaway I'd like those of you out there listening today to just sort of think about. If you're going to move to your next house and you're selling one and buying another, and it means the difference of getting it for $5,000 more or not getting it for $5,000 less, if you're going to stay there for 10 years, which is likely the case, somewhere between 7 to 10 years most people think they're going to be there, it's $500 a year. You know, I think you can find $500 a year if you rationalize that into, you know, it's a very emotional decision. And if some people are willing to walk away, they might not find they'll find another house because they're not going to live in a tent, but they're likely to have to maybe make some sacrifices and say, geez, I wish I had listened, or I wish I had offered more. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we were talking earlier during the break, and I have a property that I sold this woman a townhouse a couple years ago, and now she's getting remarried and, you know, joining families, so she needs more space. And so we listed the townhouse, and I had let her know to be ready because it was going to sell quickly. And indeed, 4 days, it was under agreement with multiple offers, over asking, and we then were looking to get her into a property and ended up in the same situation where we actually had to offer over asking because it was a multiple offer situation. And it's, you know, that's just one scenario. It's been it's been kind of the norm the last 2 months where there's multiple offers on properties and stuff is just moving really quickly. So I think that you're absolutely right when you say, you know, if it's a difference of $5,000 in getting the house, you know, it's certainly worth it to get the house.
I got to say, I kind of like Fred's strategy where if you're able to do it, if you're able to buy and then sell your house, you already know where you're going.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
less stressful.
Not everybody can do it, but some can. And some might find that strategy to be more relaxing. if there is such a thing.
With my sister-in-law, when she purchased her home, she had to do that. That was her personality, their family's dynamics. They just had to do it that way, because if they didn't know where they were going, their motivation for what they were selling wasn't as great. Once they found their home, then they were like, okay, we're ready to list. So yeah, if you can do it, absolutely. It does take away the guessing.
Yeah. And Bill, you mentioned that you're compulsive and 5,000 doesn't matter to you. And I look at it a little differently that, yeah, you may say so am I, quick decision maker, but it's not really all that bad to be a little compulsive in that sense, because there is something called opportunity loss, or the cost of not buying or not selling that costs you a lot more than 5,000. Rates go up, prices drop, or prices go up. So to me, get your strategy, and when you're ready, just pull the trigger, because if you don't, as I said, you cannot always quantify the losses.
Sure. And here's the other thing about it, is that while we're all full-time professionals in the market and are seasoned veterans, our ability to predict long-term trends in the market, unless you're predicting very long, if you say our price is going to be higher 10 years from now than they are today, likely they are. But if you say to somebody, what's it going to be like in 12 months, I might think I know, but I can't guarantee it. Can you?
Well, if you can do that with stocks, then you can do it with real estate.
Yeah. And if you can do that, then
you get rich.
Probably not going to be on the radio program.
Be on TV.
You're going to be on a beach. We're going to take another break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about preparing your property for sale and what those strategies are like. Once again, this is Real Estate on the Radio, 610 WGIR.
Hi, I'm Kim Denault of Keller Williams. Hard work and using what I've learned through the years are very important to helping my clients find their dream home. It's always been my main focus, like with Kate White.
Kim was amazing. I was a challenging client and she won me over with her ethics and willingness to go above and beyond. She genuinely cares about her clients, and I'll never use another real estate agent again. She's the best.
To learn more, call me, Kim Denault, at 345-7783, or look me up at nhseller.com.
Brian Macris for Residential Mortgage Services of Bedford.
As soon as the phone rings and I pick it up, the first thing the customer always asks is, what's your rate, what's your rate, what's your rate? And at Residential Mortgage Services, we try to focus on what's the lowest cost to borrow. There are many programs out there that can include grant programs, no monthly mortgage insurance, VA programs, and our goal is to find the best solution for you and your family.
Brian Macris is MLO number 107176, and Residential Mortgage Services, Inc. is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 1760 and is licensed by the New Hampshire Banking Department.
Hi, I'm Christy Whitten of Keller Williams in Bedford. One of the best feelings is helping someone become a homeowner for the very first time, like Chuck.
I found the right townhome for my family thanks to Christy's expertise and patience. My schedule didn't leave a lot of flexibility for showings, but Christy always delivered. And when advising if I should make an offer, she always shared her honest opinion. I recommend Christy to anyone.
So, if I can help you with your next move, please give me, Christy Whitten, a call at 603-674-4985 or look me up at ChristyWhitten.com.
Are you having trouble paying your mortgage, car loan, or other debts because of a financial crisis or loss? Are creditors harassing you on your seller at home? Contact attorney Andy Gould with the law offices of Gould & Gould at 603-434-3437 for a free consultation to learn what legal rights you may have to respond to a foreclosure or other creditor claims. The law offices of Gould & Gould is a debt relief agency, so please call us to learn what we can do for you. 603-434-3437.
Bill Weidecker of Keller Williams in Bedford.
After 29 years in the real estate business, I'm a lot better now than I was when I started. When you've been involved in the sale of over 1,000 homes, you can't help but get better, as experience is a great teacher. It helps me integrate all the information that's out there to help buyers gain perspective on what they want and what's the best fit for them. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, give me, Bill Weidecker, a call at 661-7818 or look me up on the web at kw.com.
Fred Afshar of Keller Williams in Bedford.
2015 has arrived, and if you have been thinking of buying a new home, there may never be a better time. Interest rates and prices are still low, but both are on the rise. If I can help either to start that process or talk about what lies ahead, give me, Fred Afshar, a call at 548-8989 or look me up at hscalls.com.
Hey, we're back at Real Estate on the Radio, 610 WGIR. Thanks for listening. We're talking about selling your home and the strategies around it. In our next segment here, we're going to talk about the preparation and what it takes. And, of course, one of the buzzwords of the last 10 years is you hear people saying, staging. You hear that over and over and over again. There's shows on television with regard to staging. You have realtors that hire professional stagers to get their properties ready. I want to have just a free-form discussion about the condition of a property and what that actually means. Does condition, as we transition into this seller's market, still matter?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yep.
So all three of you at the same time. Yeah. So that's resounding.
Yeah.
So people are still looking at condition. So what are the – and I get that it might change from price point to price point to price point. So $1 million property might be staged differently than a $200,000 property. But is it just as important?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so what are the things – let's look at if I'm a first-time home seller and I'm selling an entry-level property, let's say in the city of Manchester, and it's worth somewhere between $200 to $300. We'll create a really wide price range, and I know that if you were doing an analysis of a property, it wouldn't be that wide. But I just want to quick cast a broad net. What likely are the things you're going to say that that particular seller should focus on? And I know every property is going to be different based on how it looks, but what are the buzz rooms in the house that you want to spend time and money on?
Well, what I do is when we first come in, or when I first come into the home, I look as if I was a buyer in the first 7 seconds. So the entrance of that property and how people are going to come in is very impactful. If the doorknob is wobbly and the paint is chipping and the wall next to it is crumbly and there's wallpaper, I'm going to look at that kind of stuff. I'm going to take notes of it. And then the rooms I think are most important is the kitchen. If we have a kitchen that is of a galley type where it's very small, I'm going to focus in on that and sort of try to minimize what is going on in there and and neutralize it. And then I think the master bedroom or the spaces, what someone would classify the master. So those are, that for me, the first appearance, and then, kind of what's around that. And then, I want to focus on the bedrooms. And I personally think neutralizing the palettes throughout, old carpet can be freshened up, and we can comment a little bit later. I want to give some other people a chance, but the colors, the scheme of it, neutralizing it, that's good for the buyer's eyes.
I'm curious to hear what both of you think.
I think same as what Beth was saying, first impression is so important. So you really do need to get the property, spick and span. I tend to stage, repurpose, move stuff around, but cleaning is just such a big thing for me. Replace the light switch covers that have fingerprints on them. They're 12 cents at Home Depot. Little things like that are going to crisp up the house, and it's short money. And there's ways to do things that are going to make a property look better, like a white ceiling fan is kind of dated right now, but you can easily take something like that down with the proper tools, spray paint it, and put it back up. So it's not necessarily going out and spending $100 on a new fan, but maybe $7 on a can of spray paint. So there's things like that that an agent can help you with that maybe the homeowner might not know. And I also think it's important for homeowners who are looking to sell to know that buyers, in my opinion, think in $5,000 increments. So if they walk into the kitchen and the counters are dated or, need replacing, scuffed up, whatever it might be, their initial thought in their head is, that's going to cost me $5,000. I don't know if I have what it takes to replace the counters. But in all actuality, you can probably get a really nice laminate counter for the average kitchen for $1,000 installed. So, we want to take that away from the buyers. We don't want them to come in and have any thoughts of negativity and what they're going to have to dump into the property. If we can do it ahead of time, the gain on that for the seller is going to be much more than if we didn't do the work.
Fred?
I agree with both Beth and Christy, so I'm going to take it to another direction, not to be redundant. I asked the seller, anything sells for the right price, I don't care how bad it is. We cannot do anything with the location or the size of the property, but we can do a lot with the condition. And if they pay $5,000, as Christy said, they can benefit $10,000, $15,000. That's proven. However, if they don't want to do anything, then sometimes I say, if you don't have any money, you still can have it done, and the many vendors get paid at closing. So it's better to do so. But some people are just going to be very against it. And to determine the right price that they want, they have to do that part, do the conditioning part, because they can't move it without spending, where they're going to move the house to. So location stays.
It's interesting because today, wall coverings and floor coverings are very affordable.
And painting.
And so you can, when I say wall coverings, what do we mean by today's standards?
Not
really
wallpaper.
Paint. Wallpaper is kind of gone away. But I will tell you this. Get ready for it to be back again. I'm sure we're going to see wallpaper being very popular in the next 10 to 15 years. It's just not popular now.
Right, correct.
And I've seen houses filled with wallpaper that would not sell, that when they were changed over, sold immediately. And we talked, Beth, you brought up this palette of colors. And, I've heard other agents refer to, you'll hear common now where they'll say, well, it's very similar to Pottery Barn, or, you can go into any good home improvement store, Lowe's, and look around and you can see what's fashionable today.
Yes.
And you do not need to spend a lot of money on light fixtures and lampshades and things like that, or as you used a great example, Christy, just the light switches.
Yeah.
All of those things, good cleaning doesn't have to cost a lot, and even if you're timing, if you say I don't have the time, you can leverage your time. You can have somebody come in and do it. And most good agents are going to have vendors.
Yes.
They're going to have a list of people that they're going to be able to recommend to you that are not only good at what they do, but they have good reputations. They're reasonable in price, because one of the things we know is when we're selling something for somebody, we're mindful of their numbers, aren't we? We don't want them to spend too much money on their improvements.
Well, I want them to have a return on their investment. If I'm asking somebody to put in new carpeting because the carpet that's there is not salvageable, and this will help enhance the saleability of the home, I don't want them to put that in and not get a return on that. And the return is that if your house is I'm just giving you for instance, if the house is on the market for $250 and it has a mauve, holes in the carpet, stains everywhere, that house is going to sell for less than the $250. But if you threw in a new carpet and you put it in a neutral territory, then you're going to more likely sell it for the asking price. That's the return.
Yeah, making it more saleable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're going to take a very quick break. We'll be back with our last segment, so don't go anywhere. Stick around for Real Estate on the Radio as we wrap this all up.
I'm Christy Whitten of Keller Williams in Bedford. I love helping people find the perfect home, like Cindy Ripsick.
Christy is a home buyer's dream agent, extremely knowledgeable, invested in meeting your needs, timely in her response, dedicated to helping you make a sound investment, and she's fun to be around. Knowing she was my advocate in an anxious time made it much easier.
So, if I can help you with your next move, please give me, Christy Whitten, a call at 603-674-4985 or look me up at christywhitten.com.
Bill Weidecker of Keller Williams in Bedford.
The real estate business technologically certainly has changed as the internet has become a very helpful tool. But the human role hasn't changed at all in my 29 years of helping people find the best home for them, and it can't be replaced. What I do is interpret all the information, give perspective, and solid opinions as to what you ought to do, and the internet can't do that. So if you're looking to buy or sell, give me, Bill Weidecker, a call at 661-7818 or look me up on the web at kw.com.
You've worked hard, paid your bills, but now you may need legal help. Have you considered bankruptcy? Bankruptcy may sound like a dirty word, but don't be ashamed to learn about this option. You're not the first. Many people, even big corporations, file bankruptcy, which can provide you with a fresh start and relieve you of stress and anxiety that has taken over your life. Contact me, Attorney Andy Gould, at 603-434-3437. The law offices of Gould & Gould is a debt relief agency, so please call us to learn what we can do for you.
Hi, I'm Fred Afshar from Keller Williams in Bedford. I think the most efficient and effective way to serve my clients is through a well-tested process that produces excellence time after time. It involves constant communication through the entire process to answer any question they have through the method they prefer most: phone, email, instant messaging, or text. That keeps them updated and all of us on the same page to make the process go smoothly. If that's for you, give me a call at 548-8989 or look me up at hscalls.com.
Brian Macris for Residential Mortgage Services of Bedford.
As soon as the phone rings and I pick it up, the first thing the customer always asks is, what's your rate, what's your rate, what's your rate? And at Residential Mortgage Services, we try to focus on what's the lowest cost to borrow. There are many programs out there that can include grant programs, no monthly mortgage insurance, VA programs, and our goal is to find the best solution for you and your family.
Brian Macris is MLO number 107176, and Residential Mortgage Services, Inc. is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 1760 and is licensed by the New Hampshire Banking Department.
Hi, I'm Kim Denault of Keller Williams Real Estate. My main goal is complete satisfaction for my clients, because if they're happy, we'll probably work together again, and that's good for my business. Here's what Chris Beer said about our latest collaboration.
Going through a second transaction with Kim was like a breath of fresh air. We didn't know so much had changed in so little time. Thank you for keeping us up to date and making the transaction the smoothest we've ever encountered.
To learn more, call me at 345-7783. Look me up at nhseller.com or check out my ad in this week's Hippo Press.
We're back with Real Estate on the Radio, 610 WGIR. We've had a great discussion today. I'm Bill Weidecker. We've got Christy Witten, Beth DeCato-Bolio, and Fred Afshar, all from Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan, all selling real estate as far as the state lines take us. And maybe, are some of you licensed in Mass?
No, I have a team member who is.
Yeah. So some people have got good referral sources, and you're able to, if you're listening in Massachusetts, make sure you call us because we can help. We've talked a lot about pricing. We've talked about condition. We've talked about preparing for the whole process, and I guess I want to finish with you got an offer on the property. We'll do that. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go to just sort of takeaways for the day that last snippets of advice that you'd be willing to give. So, as we talk about the offer, are you when you get an offer on your client's property, do you advise them, if the offer's good or bad, or is it really up to? Do you say take it or leave it? I don't care what you do, or how do you handle that? That's a little bit of a loaded question.
Yep. No, I definitely think that it's, in presenting an offer, it's definitely a conversation, and there's a lot of pieces to a purchase and sale contract. And so I think it's important for the sellers to understand the whole contract. And yes, most sellers are, their eyeballs are going directly to the sales price. But there's a lot more in there that's important. Is there a home sale contingency? Is that other home under agreement? What does the financing look like? Are they a solid buyer? Are they doing 100% financing? Are they putting 20% down? And how does that reflect on the type of property that they're buying? So I think all of those things need to be discussed and gone over. I think we definitely sometimes have to have a tough conversation if it's a price point that required a little bit of negotiation, and if it's a price point that's the offers are coming in at asking, then it's about negotiating the rest of the contract and making sure that it just works.
Fred, your thoughts?
I just have to really pretty much repeat what Christy said. If when I get an offer, I go to my sellers and say, let's look at the whole purchase and sales offer. Terms and conditions are just as important. Price is only one factor. Somebody can offer you full price but have a house for sale that is not under agreement. Well, could be that person's house could be also overpriced. So now we got two overpriced people hoping that it will happen, and it won't happen. Then after that, my seller is not going to settle for anything less. So, well, I got a full price offer. So, yeah, if somebody's coming to you with cash and is going to close in 2 weeks and is offer you 5% less, like you said, if it's me, the seller, I'll take it.
Yeah, you're really kind of being a diagnostician. You're looking at all of the vital signs of that offer. Beth, what are your thoughts?
Well, when I receive an offer from one of my sellers, I actually check in with the lender. I think it's important to know that this buyer has up-to-date information with the lender, regardless of whether they're financing at 100% or if they're putting 20% down. So I will do a little bit of homework on that offer before I present it to the seller. That's one of my first steps. And then I will literally go over page by page so that we have at least read this contract and that we know all the terms and conditions, because like Christy and Fred said, there's more than just the price. There's pieces inside of that could have a huge impact on which direction this ends up going.
So let's make a shift, and I'm going to give every one of you an opportunity to just take 10 seconds and say, what are your takeaways for the day, or what advice would you have for people out there? Fred?
Check your motivation, have a strategy, and you may not want to double down on your stress or bring it up by buying and selling and moving at the same time.
Christy?
Yeah, definitely take the time to get your house ready to sell, and that will include staging, and it doesn't have to be staging at a fee. It's something the agent can help you with.
Beth, last word, 10 seconds.
Call your realtor right away to get your process started.
There you go. Thanks for listening to Real Estate on the Radio. We'll be back next week.
Hi, I'm Kim Denault of Keller Williams. Hard work and using what I've learned through the years are very important to helping my clients find their dream home. It's always been my main focus, like with Kate White.
Kim was amazing. I was a challenging client and she won me over with her ethics and willingness to go above and beyond. She genuinely cares about her clients, and I'll never use another real estate agent again. She's the best.
To learn more, call me, Kim Denault, at 345-7783, or look me up at nhseller.com.
Brian Macris for Residential Mortgage Services of Bedford.
As soon as the phone rings and I pick it up, the first thing the customer always asks is, what's your rate? What's your rate? What's your rate? And at Residential Mortgage Services, we try to focus on what's the lowest cost to borrow. There are many programs out there that could include grant programs, no monthly mortgage insurance, VA programs, and our goal is to find the best solution for you and your family.
Brian Macris is MLO number 107176, and Residential Mortgage Services, Inc. is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 1760 and is licensed by the New Hampshire Banking Department.
Hi, I'm Christy Whitten of Keller Williams in Bedford. One of the best feelings is helping someone become a homeowner for the very first time, like Chuck.
I found the right townhome for my family thanks to Christy's expertise and patience. My schedule didn't leave a lot of flexibility for showings, but Christy always delivered. And when advising if I should make an offer, she always shared her honest opinion. I recommend Christy to anyone.
So, if I can help you with your next move, please give me, Christy Whitten, a call at 603-674-4985 or look me up at ChristyWhitten.com.
Are you having trouble paying your mortgage, car loan, or other debts because of a financial crisis or loss? Are creditors harassing you on your cell or at home? Contact attorney Andy Gould with the law offices of Gould & Gould at 603-434-3437 for a free consultation to learn what legal rights you may have to respond to a foreclosure or other creditor claims. The law offices of Gould & Gould is a debt relief agency, so please call us to learn what we can do for you. 603-434-3437.
Bill Weidecker of Keller Williams in Bedford.
After 29 years in the real estate business, I'm a lot better now than I was when I started. When you've been involved in the sale of over 1,000 homes, you can't help but get better, as experience is a great teacher. It helps me integrate all the information that's out there to help buyers gain perspective on what they want and what's the best fit for them. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, give me, Bill Weidecker, a call at 661-7818 or look me up on the web at kw.com.
Fred Afshar of Keller Williams in Bedford.
2015 has arrived, and if you have been thinking of buying a new home, there may never be a better time. Interest rates and prices are still low, but both are on the rise. If I can help either to start that process or talk about what lies ahead, give me, Fred Afshar, a call at 548-8989 or look me up at hscalls.com.